from town to town with a horse trailer dragging behind. Just a cowboy lost in a modern world. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Not a day goes by, I don't think about how my life used to be. Now I'm out of my prime and I'm losing time, and nobody's calling for me. They used to call my name come roundup time. Now the four-wheelers takes my place, and the cowboy life that I've always loved is getting lost without a trace. But I won't give up and I won't give in. I'm a cowboy till I die. And I know there's got to be a place for me underneath big western sky. Headed out west, gonna do my best to leave the civilized world behind. Just me, my saddle, and an honest horse will try to go back in time, where surely there'd be a warm campfire or a bunkhouse calling my name. But tonight I'll sleep in my pickup truck, 'cause I'm still not playing their game. The world may turn, but the thing they can't change is the way I feel inside. A prairie fire may burn itself out, but you can't snuff a cowboy's pride. I'll be what I am and I'll do what I do. This life is worth fighting for. Yeah, the cowboy life is alive for me and 10,000 more. The cowboy life is alive for me.
Welcome back to True to Horsemanship. We're going back a step on a little filly, and if you watch my last video I just put on the round table, I owned up to it. She was doing so good, and you know, some people only afford to pay so much, so I'm trying to look out for Jim and everything. And but I got a good mouth on the filly, so but we had some, let's say, action. She didn't get hurt, she didn't get in trouble, because we was able to control her because I did put a mouth on her. But that night, all night I chewed myself out and thought what me and Jim could make a deal about things to keep her here until she's driving good. And the funny thing about it, Cindy comes home the next night and says, "I want to chew you out. You know about being true to a horse?" I said, "Yeah, I already did it. I already chewed myself out." So we go back a step, and which usually in the long run usually get farther along. And what I'm doing, well, I made some PVC poles to put on her, and I'll get them up on her, and just like the shaft on the cart, because the problem was when she was pulling the cart, she pulled the cart pretty. I made a joke to Jim when we was going straight. I said I need to take the round pin apart so we can keep going straight. But so it's just a turn. So I'm doing what I should have did. I made some poles out of PVC pipe and shoulder rig up. Now whenever you are harnessing a horse, you go from front to back. And when you unharness, you go from back to front. and back her up just a little bit, Jim. Now you're all right. Just back her up. Back her up. Get used to not putting that pipe. Now just pull her head a little bit to you, just a little bit, and back her up. Go ahead, back her up. I want you to turn her. Don't even think about this. Well, put your hand on her hip. Like I said, part of this I'm going to have to voice it over because we don't have the audio worked out. Using PVC here, we can, get her used to the shaft, something against the side of her. And like I said earlier, you always start from, when you hook them up, you start from front to back. Now since PVC is slippery, what I've done here, what I will do in a minute after I get it all hooked up, I'll just take a little bit of duct tape and wrap around the front where the shafts goes through the holder, just to keep it from sliding in and out. I mean, it's a simple process. But what I'll do, I'll turn that tab up so if I got to jerk the duct tape off real quick, I can. Because whenever you train for harness, always safety first. So then I got one side, now I'll walk over to the other side and do the same thing. It's a step I should have went through, and like I said earlier, because of the mare and time frame and all, I thought I'd get by not doing this, but I'm not one to say I'm perfect, but so just going back a step, that's all I'm doing. Always, never be afraid to go back to a step. I mean, that's a big thing. Now we're going to let Jim walk her off, and Jim's got to learn to drive her. What I'm going to do is just let Jim lead her around a little bit on the shafts. Now, we've done the shafts for a while, so like this. And at first she wasn't too crazy about it, but she wasn't bad actually. And fortunately enough, it goes back to how important it is putting a mouth on a horse who's soft to the bit, so we have control. And that's the key thing. I want to be control. Now when we start off, I start off and I'll handle them on a long straight before I turn them and just make big turns. And now she's at the point we start making little smaller turns because I need to get her feel them shafts in all different ways. Like I say, always safety first. I can't stress that enough, and I'll say that a few times. Now, like I said earlier about the duct tape, keep that pipe from slipping, and just take some good old duct tape. Tape it around there. Now I'm going to bend these ends, so if I have to grab hold of that tape, I can. And what that'll do, that'll keep that slick PVC from sliding back and forth. even, with the black straps I put on it, keeps the buggy from sliding up and hitting the horse in the butt. Even with them tied the way I got it, the PVC is still liable to slip. Now the first time we did this, I was beside Jim, and just like with the video with the skid, we did the same thing, only hooked up to these poles. Jim, you want to get the gate behind you? Part. And I know the camera ain't gonna pick up this time, but I'm talking anyway. You get up there, Jim. Of course, here I'm starting to drive her. Now, one thing you gotta remember, where the driving part is a little different than riding on her turns. I don't want her to really flex when she turns. I want her to turn straight on the circle. So what I'll do is, like right here, I'm fixing to go to the right, and I'll put a little bit of pressure to my left side to keep her straight. And like I said earlier, now I'm doing more turns with her, instead of just concentrating going straight. She'll pull fine. It's just when we hooked the cart up, she wasn't crazy about the shafts. Jim couldn't understand that because he said he pulled a skid with no problem. Well, as we all know, when we change it up on horses, it's a whole different ball game. So now I'm going to hand over to Jim and let him drive her for a while, because Jim needs experience doing this. He's about as green as a horse is when it comes to driving. But we'll get him there, no problem. When I was walking up, Jim asked me how big a swing you want me to do, because when we started out, we kept our circles big. And I told him, I don't care. Now it's time to and luckily enough, we did put a good mouth on her, so if she would act silly, we got control of her. And I really appreciate having Jim here helping me, because I tell you what, to me, training a horse and harness is nerve-wracking. Once you get them going good, it's fun to drive them, but getting there. And in my personal opinion, it's easier to train a team than it is a single.
Oh, hello.
That's it. Now there it shows up the importance of having a mouth on her. Because Jim was able to control her. Good job, Jim. And you didn't let her go 50 feet before you stopped her. You know, the thing of it is, and I've said this time and time again, this looks boring, but boring is good when you're training horses. I mean, that's what we want. We want boring. Now, we've done this for about a week now. I was thinking about getting her ready to hook up to the buggy, but right there when she spooked, that told me I want at least 4 good days where there's no spook. Because at the end of the day, I'm the one sitting in that seat. I don't want to get her hurt or me hurt. Well, I saw it. I don't know if the camera picked up, but she started getting a little goosey. But I saw Jim right then pick up on them reins. The driving line. The last thing we want to do with her is let her get away from us. And even with the PVC pipe, she probably won't get hurt. But in her horsey mind, she's got this PVC pipe chasing. All right, that's where it stops, Jim. Back her up a little bit. All right, walk her off.
Walk up.
And Jim realized when you're driving a horse, it's no different than the way you ride them. Because you don't want that horse on a turn, bend. You want to keep them straight on that circle. So and all you got to do is pull on your directional line and hold that outside line just a little bit pressure to it to keep them straight. All right, Jim, we're going to bump it up a little bit. There, we want to change it up a little bit. I want to start backing her and turn her hiney a little bit. And first, I just want her to move that hip just a little bit. And I'm using my driving lines to control that hip. Now right there, she's fighting me, but whole thing, I can't release right then and there. I gotta wait for some, just like anything, gotta wait for some softness. You know, it doesn't matter horse riding or driving. I want them backing up, and I want to be able to control that back. Now this is her first time doing it, so you know, right there she moved just pretty. But it's important when you do this first time, just don't get stuck on it. You know, you'll see here in a little bit, she's a young horse, and she'll tell you when you had enough, and you'll see that. I'm not going to edit it out. I'm going to leave it in there because, you know, you got to, as we all know, that's what I do anyway. So now I hand it over, driving lines over to Jim, and let him do it. And when you're first doing it, right, like right there, she moved that hip a little bit. Jim took that pressure off of her. She moves that hip a little bit. You know, when you first start, when they move that hip and turn just a little bit, reward them. But like I said, just don't get stuck thinking this is all I'm going to do. Now right there, that was more or less her getting her feet underneath her. I told Jim walk her out a little bit. Like I said, just don't get stuck on one thing. Break it up. Take that pressure off the horse much. Right there, as I was saying earlier, she's telling you she's had enough. So what do? You go a little bit farther. Like right there. She resists a little bit. And just
Do
go
it one more time and walk off. Back her, just back her up, Jim.
He says I'm trying.
Back her up. All right, now walk her off. Forget about it. Go do something else. Now the reason I told Jim that, as you can see, she started getting frustrated. So instead of saying you're going to do it, come heck or high water, you know, I had Jim back her up, and she backed up softly. So now we just go to something else. And the back is just as important as driving as it is riding. Because at the end of the day, that's how you can control that forward movement. That's it, Jim. You're doing good. Let her move out. Probably deer time.
Yeah.
Do about 5 more minutes, Jim. If she does fine, then we'll quit. I don't want to stop
Uh-oh,
right
uh-oh.
after her spooking.
There you go. Good girl.
Just back her up, Jim. Don't get so hung up on moving that hip at a certain point. When you feel her stalling out,
Oh shit. There's a number 2 flying through the air.
oh, they're mating.
What? There's a balloon. See, it's a number 2 or 5. I'm not sure what it is.
But they're not falling.
Well, I thought it was. Let's go in the other way, so we're okay.
That's good. So it's all part. You've been on camera all the time, so
What do you want?
can you see me?
Yes?
Oh,
Now you're on camera going,
I can't. I'm dancing. Anyhow, whenever she just practicing backing up and moving, turn. If she starts getting sticky feet, forget about the turn. You just get her to back up, and then she backs up softly, and then let her go. Just like I said. You're fine. No, you're not going to get on top. Get her used to doing it that way. Anyway, like I said earlier, the controller. To unharness, you start from back to front. All right, I want you, no, you're not done yet. I want you to take control and gather your lines and walk your way up to her head. Get on this side. Pull on your left. Right, I mean. So she's got to get used to not depend on the lead line. She's got to depend on, and you got to learn to depend on your line. So that was easy. It was a lot better. And yeah, she's a young horse, so I took her a little bit farther for how good she was doing. I took her a little farther than I normally would for the video's sake. But all she needs, if it's at her age right now, what we're trying to accomplish, if we can do it for 20 minutes with nothing, 20, 30 minutes, then we just put her up and call it quits. Because if you work past where she's starting to get frustrated and you start losing her attention,
you have to start addressing stuff like what just came out. And all you do is just work a little longer and longer and longer. So, with that said, as I always say, true to the horse, they left.
It's gone.
We was watching a couple birds doing weird things.
No, it was a big balloon.
Oh, it was a balloon?
It was a balloon.
Oh, I'm sorry. Without glasses, I thought it was a bird.
That's what was worrying
It
me.
was making whoopee. Anyway, good thing I cut some of this out.
Yeah.
I might. Anyhow, as I always say, be true to the horse, and they'll be true to you. And also be true to yourself. God bless and take care.